My name is Gillian Jiki. I am a program officer at the Stockholm International Water Institute within the Department of the Transboundary Water Cooperation, and we will shortly be on our way. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in this session. We want to first wish all the women in the room a wonderful International Women's Day. We hope the day has started well and it will end well. It's already a wonderful thing to have you all here with us. We would like to start our day as per agenda. I would like to introduce Jacqueline Nyarakamana, who's a network member and also a leadership council member for the Nile. She's going to give us some welcoming remarks to set us on the way.
I was thinking that you will introduce the participants so that we can know who are with us before
That's a great idea, Jacqueline. Let me highlight some of the amazing, we have 2 hours here together today, and we're going to start with some welcoming remarks from one of our leadership council, Jacqueline, followed by a really nice pre-recorded message from the Swedish ambassador to Kenya. And then we're going to have opportunities to hear about the vision of the network and discuss in breakout rooms together what we want to achieve with this vision. So we're really excited, and I just want to highlight that amongst us today here, while we can't do introductions of everyone, we will have a chance to introduce each other in the breakout rooms, but we have some of the women water diplomats from the Nile Basin, leaders from Central Asia and Afghanistan with us, from the United States I see, and a number of other basins throughout Africa. So really, thank you all for joining us on this important and very busy day for so many of you. So how does that sound, Jacqueline? Are we ready to roll?
Thank you. Thank you, Gillian and Elizabeth. Thank you for the CIWI team to give me this opportunity to say some few remarks during this meeting of Women in Water Diplomacy Network. So distinguished members of Women in the Water Diplomacy Network and guests, development partners present with us today, management staff of CIWI, all protocols observed in your respective titles, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and good morning to all of the network members and the guests who are with us today to make a celebration of International Women's Day and celebrate the mission of the Women and the Water Diplomacy Network. As I said, I'm honored to have been invited to join you in this meeting as a member of Women in Water Diplomacy Network and also member of leadership councils. So before I start my remarks, let me introduce myself. As Gillian said, I'm Jacqueline Nyarakamana, working with the Ministry of Environment in Rwanda as transboundary water resources management and cooperation specialist. And apart to be a transboundary specialist, I'm a member of advisory committee for Nile Basin and the NELSAP. I have been appointed in 2018 to be Rwandan representative in the Lake Kivu and the Rusizi River Basin in single called the Bakir. I joined this network I think in 2018, during the leadership of Alexandra, the former team leader of this network. Later on, Elizabeth came, and I have been nominated officially or suggested as member of this network during that time. Later on, I was interested really to be among the leadership of this network. And for me, it's a great opportunity to learn a lot from this network, from the experience, sharing information, sharing knowledge through the workshop, through meetings, and through different networks from my colleagues who are here with a lot of experience and skills in water management and cooperation, especially in sharing water resources. So also I'm a member of some association called the Future of Great River. It's an association based in Lyon, in France, which has mandate to manage the water of Rhone River and Lake Geneva. I have been interested through my colleague. Then I have been a member last year in 2021. Due to this COVID-19, we couldn't have a lot of meetings, but last year in September we had 10 international session of this association in Geneva. But it was great. We shared a lot of experience on transboundary water management and cooperation between the two countries, France and Switzerland. So I learned a lot from this network, from different network, and from my work and the other network. Let me say something regarding this day. Today, you will have a chance to listen and exchange with leading women water diplomacy in the Nile and beyond. I would guess that this experience should be really in a virtual room with dozens of African leading women water specialists might be a rare opportunity for some of you, perhaps even exciting. We know what you mean. Every gathering of the Women in Water Diplomacy Network since it was formed in 2017 is for us a unique opportunity and truly exciting and energizing. Allow me to congratulate you and the entire team of SIWI for the achievement recorded since the Women in Water Diplomacy Network was formed, despite challenges brought by COVID-19 pandemic that the world continues to face these last 3 years. Together, we have forged a community that gives the multidisciplinary field of water diplomacy a safe space where we as a community can get to know each other as people and professionals.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
أحمد أنا مش عارفة في مشكلة في هنا.
Welcome, Tahani. It's okay, Jacqueline. You can continue.
Yes, I was saying together we have forged a community that gives the multidisciplinary field of water diplomacy a safe space where we as a community can get to know each other as people and professionals in complex countries. Together we have built boundary crossing personal tie. It is not true that if you really know your counterpart, if you support each other and learn from one another, when challenges arise, you would not assume the worst, that a crisis can trigger mutual support. This is true. Area warning among friends, if you will. Moreover, when you are one of few women in any field, including ours, we often lack senior mentors, even if our own countries. In the Nile, the Women in Water Diplomacy Network enables community and mentorship across the basin, learning from the rich experiences and the expertise of the expert in the network. We know we have a long way to go to see our vision of inclusive decision-making at all levels truly achieved, but we are guided by our vision, alignment with the Sustainable Development Agenda, the Women, Peace and Security Agenda, and the Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. Today, we are going to share with you our shared vision. This vision, the Nile and beyond, is a result of nearly 5 years of engagement as a network and strengthened by the recent formation of our sister network in Central Asia and Afghanistan, and the many voices of interest from other basins in Africa and globally who have inputted in our strategy so far. Distinguished members of the network and guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have an ambitious vision. We aim to engage more women direct in our process to directly support emerging and upcoming women water diplomats. We aim to open a new dialogue process for our male colleagues who have in recent years turned to us with questions and hopes for joining with us as male champions of gender equality. We recognize that as we have benefited from a focused discussion on how we can advance gender equality in our engagement, and our male colleagues also can benefit as they are likewise have an important role to play in removing barriers and using their platform to foster change. We welcome you all in this endeavor. Our brother, our male champions, we welcome you. We aim to host national workshops to engage more of our colleagues from across the space, drawing colleagues from other ministries in our engagement. We aim to reach out and engage more young professionals in our activities and support the next generation of women in water diplomats. We aim to conduct innovative research and reach out to new audiences to share our experience and the knowledge and learn from others. And you won't miss us at key international process in this urgent year of action. The Women in Water Diplomacy Network has planned to be part of key process from COP27 to World Water Week. But of course, we need each of your support in seeing our vision to reality. New development partners and implementation are needed and welcome, and we are ready to work with you. Let us be clear, we have all the evidence that we need to know that supporting gender equality, including through direct support to women-led initiatives like the Women in Water Diplomacy Network, directly improves peace, resilience, and sustainable community. Three things we could all have a lot more of. Before I conclude, let me thank the development partners for their technical and financial support extended to the Women in Water Diplomacy Network through SIWI, especially SIDA, United States, Netherlands, UNDP, and others. We thank you for your support, and we thank you to join us today. As I conclude, I wish you fruitful deliberations and welcome your input and exchange throughout today's session. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. That was very inspiring. And yeah, we've seen what a long way we've walked so far, but so much more to cover still in the coming years. So we're very grateful for you to have been a pioneer in this process, and for everybody who would like to join us on this journey. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you all the ambassador and permanent representative of Sweden at the Embassy of Sweden in Kenya. She is not with us today, but she has been kind enough to record a message for you all that we are going to play shortly.
Dear members of the Women in Diplomacy Network, Stockholm International Water Institute, and other development partners, I'm very delighted and honored to address you today and to discuss issues of such fundamental importance to humanity: women, water, peace and security. Today, the whole world is facing a water crisis, and it's actually getting worse. Access to water for all is under extreme threat. Threats from a growing population, increasing demands, pollution, and the worsening impacts of climate change. The consequences of such stresses impact both local, national, transboundary, regional, and national and global levels. Consequences will be disproportionately felt by the poorest and the most vulnerable. The theme of this International Women's Day is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, recognizing the contribution of women and girls around the world who are leading the charge on climate change adaptation, mitigation and response to build a more sustainable future for all. And water is, of course, at the heart of all this. Achieving gender equality and protecting the environment are top priorities for the whole Swedish government. We have the world's first feminist foreign policy that is deeply rooted in the conviction that sustainable peace, security and development can never fully be achieved if not half of the world's population is participating. Sweden wholeheartedly pursues the feminist foreign policy to contribute to gender equality and the full enjoyment of human rights by all women and all girls. The policy has been developed as an agenda for change aimed to strengthen three central areas: rights, representation, and resources of women and girls. Women play critical roles in conflict prevention and water management. Yet their participation in political leadership and informal peace processes remains disappointingly low. It is crucial to remove obstacles to women's participation in decision-making. Women and girls should play an integral leading part in designing and advocating for policies and action to address the water and climate crisis and in policy implementation. At all levels, women's participation in negotiations and decision-making needs to be increased. Sweden is a strong supporter of the Women, Peace and Security agenda. More and more evidence shows that women's involvement in peace building and mediation contributes to lasting peace. There is a great potential in strengthened cooperation and on shared water resources in regions such as the Nile basin, which has immense strategic value for the whole Northeast Africa. Strengthened cooperation also bring in significant prospects of positive outcomes on regional peace and stability, economic development, sustainability, and environmental protection. There is a great gender imbalance in the water sector in general, and in transboundary governance in particular. In most cases, men make the decisions even if women are the ones that are most affected by the outcome. So we must empower women and make sure that they can participate fully and bring their real life expertise into this field. Sweden is a proud supporter of Stockholm International Water Institute, the Shared Water Partnership Program and the Women in Diplomacy Network. All this since 2017 and through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA. I'm truly pleased to give these welcome remarks to the second consultation meeting for development and implementation partners to provide input to the Women in Water Diplomacy, Nile and Beyond strategy and the 2022 to 2027 program currently under development by the network. It is important to recognize and celebrate the achievements of the Women in Diplomacy Network. There has been immense interest and inquiry from African transboundary basins. Building on the experience from the Nile Basin, the efforts of the network will, in the years to come, reach outside of its original region to address gender inequalities and support women's leadership in transboundary water governance in the Nile and beyond. And just as importantly, serve as a role model and inspirer in a field where women participation is far from equal that to men. I would also like to give a thank you to all the members and the partners who have joined this consultation meeting. And I wish you truly insightful discussions. The Embassy looks forward to continue this engagement and close cooperation with SIWI and Women in Diplomacy Network. The need for more women in water and climate diplomacy is universal, and we must continue to build momentum. Thank you so much and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. In your absentia, we were really honored to have listened to this kind and inspiring words. And we are very grateful for that framework that you have set for us. And we are reassured that we are on the right path. We just want to take everybody along with us, and this is exactly what we are doing by bringing together all the partners, all the supporters of this initiative. Thank you once again. Now it's the time for us to hear really the gist of what the Women in Water Diplomacy, Nile and Beyond is all about. We have a short presentation for you all, and then right after we'll see, time permitting, I know it's always tight, but time permitting, we'll invite some questions. So I will tell you a little bit about the Stockholm International Water Institute. I'm sure many of you know for having engaged at different levels with us, but the Stockholm International Water Institute is a water policy institute focused on water governance and contributing to international efforts to combat the world escalating water crisis. It is located in Stockholm, where the headquarters office are based. And we also have two branches, or should I say, antennas. One in the African region, it's called the Africa Regional Center in Pretoria, South Africa. And we have a newborn in Bogota, Colombia, that was recently opened, the Latin America and Caribbean Center. We have over 85 staff members. It fluctuates, as you all know. We've been in operation for 25 years, specializing, as I mentioned, in water and sanitation and hygiene, but also in the transboundary waters, in the international policy aspect of the water resources management. We are aiming at elevating the water excellence through various platforms, such as the World Water Week, the Stockholm Junior Prize, and the Stockholm International Stockholm Water Prize. SIWI, through the Shared Waters Partnership, is really implementing a variety of lines supporting the transboundary water management. The Shared Waters Partnership is a multi-donor program supported by Sweden, by the United States, the Netherlands, and the United Nations Development Program. It has been designed to support cooperation over shared waters in fragile regions such as the Nile, where water is or may become a source of conflict, or where water can serve as a catalyst to peace and stability. The approach is a multi-track approach. We understand that there are various actors that can play a role, so we try to engage them all at different levels. And in this instance, for the Women in Water Diplomacy, Nile and beyond, we will really dwell on the track 1.1 approach. We focus on including youth empowerment and the human rights-based approach, which are really the cross-cutting issues at the Stockholm International Water Institute. The Shared Waters Partnership is proud to have supported the Women in Water Diplomacy Network since 2017, as you've heard from Jacqueline earlier. Yes, now how does this all come together, or how does this bring together the elements of water, peace, and security that was emphasized by the Her Excellency earlier? Our approach is really to evaluate the cost, benefits, and opportunities to elevating women's voices in the conflict-prone regions. And we have evidence to support this approach. We know, for example, that failure to include women equitably has a direct cost to political decision-making at transboundary level, but also undermines progress towards cooperative and sustainable management. We also know that supporting women water diplomats provides an opportunity to elevate distinctive knowledge, perspectives, and experience, provides a more comprehensive understanding of relevant water issues and challenges at different levels, but also provides a broader set of equitable solutions. And we know that resources are scarce, but investing directly in women is an easy choice, because really women are at the core of water management at different levels. The Women in Water Diplomacy Network was born in 2017, as you've heard. The inception and development period was since from 2013 up till recently next year, and I will tell you last year, and I will tell you how. The 2013 and 2017 research was undertaken to identify the gendered impact on transboundary water cooperation processes, with particular focus on Africa. The Shared Waters Partnership then came into play to pilot the Women in Water Diplomacy Nile Network Forum. And throughout the years, that Nile Forum provided week-long opportunities for the Women in Water Diplomacy Network member to come together to share experience and to build their capacities at various levels. We have also engaged several times at the World Water Week, leveraging and elevating network objectives in global processes. In 2020, there was a joint statement calling for improved inclusive water decision making. that was signed by various distinguished members of the network. Some of them are retired now, but we really appreciate that their legacy can still live on. And in 2020, there were network adaptations due to COVID to really not create a gap, but rather build on the current context to keep the flame going and to kind of strengthen the links that had been built throughout the years. We then started with online events. We started with hybrid events in some instances, and we think we've managed to keep the momentum. In 2021, there was a launch of the sister network in Central Asia and Afghanistan with the support of the OSCE, the Organization of Security Council in Europe, and also the CAREC. And throughout the years, we've shared our knowledge on our various platforms that I'm sure many of you are acquainted with, Twitter, LinkedIn. And we have a WhatsApp group that really keeps us going, where we share opportunities for young professionals, but also we share experiences. And in 2021, we launched the Women in Water Diplomacy Network Leadership Council to really pilot the Nile and Beyond global strategy that we are discussing here today. So we are very proud of the journey that we've walked, but we know that we still have a long way to go. At the beginning of this year, we've released laying the bedrock of water diplomacy. It's a report that I encourage everybody to read, and we will share the link later for your convenience. It really gives in more details what I've just the journey that I've just highlighted now. I mentioned some of the great women in water diplomacy networks that we had in the past. We had the Ambassador Nadia Gufon that has now retired. She was the ambassador of Sudan. She really pioneered and inspired a lot of members in the network. We had the Professor Saif Eldin Hamad from formerly the executive director of the Nile Basin Initiative, that really inspired through various quotes and various attendance to engagements, the network members, and really reinforce the need for women to come together, the need for women to really elevate their voices and let their voices heard. So we have walked this journey, and then we're still keeping at it. The Nile and Beyond global strategy originated from various requests from members or professionals from different basins to kind of emulate what the Women in Water Diplomacy Nile has achieved so far. And we've also thought of projecting ourselves and really contributing more to the climate change fight, as well as the water, women, peace and security agenda. This is how the idea of Nile and Beyond came about. And in that process, we also successfully launched the sister network in Central Asia, Afghanistan. As I mentioned, we've established the Leadership Council, and now we've embarked in the process of developing the strategy. To make sure that we are developing the strategy and we are arming ourselves in the right way, the network also undertook an exercise to reflect on their objectives and revisit them, so that they would be better equipped to achieve what the Nile and Beyond strategy is set to do. Some of you who have attended some of the engagements prior to this one know already the Women in Water Diplomacy Leadership Council, but these are the great ladies that we are really learning from. These ladies are for most government officials that are negotiators and mediators in their own capacities in their respective countries, but they are able to come together and inspire the rest of the network members with sharing experiences, with mentoring, with participating in some of those global processes fora. So I'm not going to go into the details. We are going to share a link where we can all read about these great ladies. But there are 6 of them from riparian countries to the Nile, and we have 2 sisters that are supporting the network that are outside the Nile basin, and this really brings together a good mix of experiences sharing, and we are assured that we have great potential, and we can achieve a lot with these great ladies. To support the Women in Water Diplomacy Leadership Council, there's a support team that is led by Elizabeth Yari, who's the operation lead and senior management at the Transboundary Water Cooperation, and also under the leadership of Anton, the director of the African Regional Center, based here in Pretoria, South Africa, at for the Stockholm International Water Institute. And last but not least, we have Jessica Troll, who's the director of the International Waters Program at the Environmental Law Institute. She's been a supporter from day one, and now she's a key partner since 2017, and also on this process. So thank you very much, Jessica, for your input so far. I am now going to hand over to my colleague and sister, Dr. Muna Musnad from Sudan, who's going to go through the revisited network objectives. Dr. Muna, please, you have the screen.
Thank you, Julian. Good afternoon, esteemed ladies and gentlemen. I'm proud to introduce you the ambitious objectives of the Women in Water Diplomacy Network. Actually, one of the objectives of this network, of establishing this network, and I am honored that I'm started with the network from the beginning. So the one objective of the network is to improve gender equality in high-level decision-making in transboundary basin. And by focusing on enhancing the woman leadership in decision-making on shared waters in the Nile Basin and in other transboundary basins, either in Africa or globally. And this is eventually will result on positive implication for regional peace, human security, and water governance. The other objective is to support technical and research cooperation, knowledge exchange, peer-to-peer experience exchange, as well as capacity buildings. And this is the opportunity to enhance coordination and build common vision for transboundary water, as well as building trust among network members. The other objective is to elevate dialogue, knowledge, and experience around the cross-cutting issues or intersecting themes of the Women in Water Diplomacy Network, such as gender equality, women leadership, male champions, water cooperation, water security, climate security, human security, water, food, energy nexus, and other themes that as a part of the basin process and Pan-Africa process and globally. The other objective is to contribute to empowering young water diplomats, which is a very important objective, so that to foster experience exchange among different generations, as well as to empower early career water diplomats, women. The last but not the least objectives is to engage new sustainable core and thematic partners for continuous supporting for the network in the Nile and beyond. This is actually this is a summary of the objectives. And next, please. Yes, there are some activities done for the improvement of the Nile and beyond strategy mentioned by Jacqueline and by Julian. So the council was established in December. I mean, the Council of Leadership, Women Leadership, established in December 2021, and the first consultation workshop or partnership workshop was done. It's supposed to be in South Africa, but due to some pandemic issues, it was held virtually. And in that meeting, the general outlines of the strategy was formulated. After that, the workshop consultation with the Women Network was done in January 2022. And the feedback of the network members was incorporated in the strategy. And now we are targeting this important event for more validation of the strategy and more feedback and improvement and development of the strategy. We are also targeting some regional and global activities for more validation and more feedback, such as in April 2022, we are going to organize network consultation with the Central Asia and Afghanistan, as well as some activities in partnership development, reaching to the World Water Week in August 2022. At that time, we are planning to launch the strategy in a session within the activities of the World Water Week. Next. Yeah, the strategy is concerning or is designed for 4 strategic pillars, and each pillar has its own objectives and its own activities, and also it has some interaction with the other pillar. The pillars are the gender and youth empowerment in transboundary water decision making. The other pillar is peer-to-peer experience exchange and capacity buildings. The third pillar is research cooperation. And the fourth pillar is the linkage to the formal basin, pan-Africa and global policy process. All these 3 pillars eventually will reflect on empowering the woman in the transboundary waters, and they have some, as I said, interconnection among the pillars themselves. I think I would stop there, and I will give the floor for my colleague Naombi. The floor is yours, Naombi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muna. Good day, all the participants. In line with the network objectives, which my colleague Dr. Muna has alluded to, I will be presenting the first 2 strategic pillars out of the 4, as she has mentioned them. The first pillar of this focuses on gender and youth empowerment, which is pillar 1, is gender and youth empowerment in transboundary water decision making. We want to focus more on participation of women in decision-making processes. Therefore, we will spearhead initiatives within the network that elevate women's roles in decision-making and address underlying drivers of gender inequalities in water governance from local to transboundary levels. We will do this by also contributing to empowering young water professionals in support of the next generation of water diplomats. Under this strategic objective, we have 3 key activities that we aim to undertake. We want to focus also more on young women and male champions. How will we do that in the council? We want to develop national women in water diplomacy and male champions. Expert pool. We want to ensure that in each and every country, there is a pool of women and male champions, focusing on young women professionals and engage across all activities. Our main focus, therefore, will be to emphasize on STEM, which will be focusing on women in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, as well as other related environmental fields. Activity 2 on pillar 1, we want to convene national trainings, leveraging newly developed training materials. We just don't want to use old materials, outdated materials. We want to remain relevant. Hence, we want to make sure that we develop new materials to broaden awareness of drivers of gender inequities in water governance and raise awareness while engaging in broad sector of line ministries related to transboundary water governance as relevant to national governance structures. Our third activity on the pillar 1 is, while we do not only focus on women, we will also facilitate a male champions dialogue group for decision makers in transboundary waters, working to improve gender equality in their decision-making teams and processes. So it is very important that while we empower women, young women, we also engage and reach out to those men to empower them to ensure that they are at a decision-making level. Strategic 2, now we will focus on capacity building, South-South learning exchanges, etc. Hence, the strategic pillar number 2 is peer-to-peer learning, capacity development, and experience exchange. The objective of this strategic pillar is to support peer-to-peer learning, capacity development, and experience exchange across network, enhancing knowledge coordination and trust building among network members. We have just 4 activities under this strategic pillar, which is while we also recognize that the network members have different training needs, we will therefore conduct annual network member needs assessment to inform training and capacity building priorities. We will not just copy and paste, but we will thoroughly conduct the needs assessment. Activity number 2, we will ensure that our members remain relevant and capacitated as well by undertaking recurrent basin and interbasin experience exchange and capacity development training for network members, including interbasin dialogue and learning opportunities, including annual network forums, which we will all agree to and organize as a network. Activity number 3, we will work in collaboration with our partners to develop a specialized accredited water diplomacy training course for network members offered recurrently to all our members. The last activity which we aim to do is to host a knowledge resource library for network members with linkage to knowledge resource hubs. Thank you very much. May I hand over to my colleague to continue with strategic pillar 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nompi. I am not on the agenda, but I am stepping in for Teresa Wasiki, who's having a bit of a sound problem. So it's my pleasure to introduce strategic pillar 3. That's our pillar focused on research cooperation. Research cooperation is really critical to constantly be engaging and elevating our knowledge and share this knowledge across the basin. So we'll be identifying and nurturing areas of joint research cooperation. We're really hoping to undertake baseline assessments, which is a very interesting methodology to try to design that would be adapted to each of the countries engaged in the network thus far. Monitoring and evaluation is of critical importance to not only make sure we're putting more women in the room, but understanding how different genders influence policy discussions. And that's something we really want to dig into in the activity 10 there on the monitoring framework. And finally, we're really hoping to identify and foster opportunities for cooperation, not only with the CIWI-hosted International Center for Water Cooperation, which is a UNESCO Category 2 center, but also with the other UNESCO centers and water chairs around the world interested in elevating these important research topics. And I would also add to this area is a really important area for engaging young professionals, and that cuts across this pillar as well. Yes, Cecil, can I have the next slide? And finally, strategic pillar number 4, which is really the source of policy recommendations, advocacy, and visibility engagements of the network. Here you're going to be seeing us carrying the Women in Water Diplomacy flag at key and there are many focused on water in the coming years. Yes, we intend to engage at COP27. We will have big, exciting events at the World Water Week this year. You can join my breakout group discussion later.
Yeah, we come. What would you take?
Someone's not muted. Oh, and it's not
only
me.
bread, nothing else. Come from.
There's someone using my name too. So, and Dushanbe is another area where our Central Asia and Afghanistan network will be working hard to elevate these key messages leading up to the UN Water Conference next year in New York. The other area of this pillar that's really important for us is to link up. Many of you in this call have made organizations with gender strategies, water influencing bodies. We're interested in cooperating with you and feeding into your strategies, sharing experience of the network to make sure we're all working together and learning from each other the best that we can. So that's another area that we're really excited to engage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for stepping in for Teresa that has experienced some problems. As I mentioned, we have been communicating a lot internally and externally within the network and beyond, and we intend to do just that. The aim of the communications component is really to support communications among the network and stakeholders, you all. So we aim at maintaining a support dialogue through network chats, through regular issues of the newsletter. I hope everybody here is a member of the newsletter as subscribed. If not, there will be another opportunity. We'll share a link with you. And also maintaining the network website abreast. And if you want also to kind of engage with us, please feel free to liaise with either Elizabeth or myself so that we see how we can harmonize some of these issues. You might have seen in the newsletter that we have broadcast some relevant material, not only produced by CIWI, but other partners. If you would like to feature in our newsletter, please let us know and we'll do the needful. The partners and development is really upon all of us to support the implementation of the objectives that have been outlined by Dr. Muna through multi-stakeholder partnerships that mobilize and share knowledge, expertise, and financial resources with the aim to support the achievement of the global mission and strategy of the network. Last but not least, we want to recognize all the partners that have been with us through to this day, from day one, the Stockholm International Water Institute and the CIDA, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. I tend to always try to move away from acronyms, pardon me for that, but also through the Shared Waters Partnership, the Sweden government, the United States of America's government, the United States Development Program, but also the government of Netherlands. And in the case of our sister network in Central Asia and Afghanistan since 2020, we've received the support of the Organization for Society and Cooperation in Europe, as well as CAREC. And I mentioned the Environmental Law Institute, represented here by yours truly, Jessica Troll. And last but not least, the UNESCO IHC Delft. Now we have just few minutes before we can go in and get those ideas on how we can get some more partners on board, how we can fine-tune the thematics that we've presented, and how we can make our partnerships commitment very sustainable towards achieving the goal of the Nile and Beyond strategy. But before we do that, I would like Elizabeth to invite you for just 5 minutes of questions and answers or clarification, if just 5 minutes before we introduce the breakout session.
That's right. Thank you for that lovely presentation, council members and Julian. Thank you so much. It's a bit of a spoiler because Elizabeth is jumping in here on the special guest who was unable to join us in the end. So it's a great opportunity for us to take a couple of questions before we move into breakout groups, which you saw in the agenda, and Julian will also remind us about the different themes of those breakout groups. But we just heard a lot of information about the objectives and core activities identified by the network members these last months, as we've tried to build out our vision together. We're all welcome to take a couple questions. I don't see any hands, so please use the hand mark, Julian, if we have indeed a few minutes.
Yes.
Explaining the breakout groups maybe, and then we can start to pique everyone's interest. We're going to ask you all to choose one of these themes, and it'll be up to you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I know there are questions, but maybe people are shy, and the breakout is just what we want to get very cozy and meet new partners. So we are going to get into it. The breakout discussions will be around 3 thematics. The national workshops, remember we mentioned them under strategic pillar number 1. The male champions dialogue group also under strategic pillar number 1. And also the network forum at World Water Week 2022. There will be facilitators in the breakout rooms and rapporteurs, so you all don't have to worry about anything. We would, however, encourage one of the participants to be a rapporteur, but there will be someone capturing, and you all can assist in reporting back. But more details will be shared with you all in the groups. We didn't want to assign participants in specific group because we understand that you have different interests based on the line of work that you are in. So we've made the rooms available for everyone to join, and they've just been opened based on your feeling, based on what you're working on, based on the thinking, what you think you can join or support, which thematic you can support. You are most welcome to pick one room. If you, for some reason, I see some people have joined, starting to join. If for some reason you are struggling to join a room, please come back to plenary and we will assist you in joining the room that you would like to join. So in the breakout room number 1, we will have Miss Yodit Balcha from Ethiopia, assisted by Katie Goldie Ryder from Stockholm International Water Institute. In the Male Champions Dialogue Group, we will have Miss Ellen Hagerman from the World Bank, supported by Anton Earl in the discussions, and also Shanani Baloy from SIWI. And last but not least, in the network forum at the World Water Week breakout room, we'll have yours truly, Elizabeth Yari, supported by herself. I might join that I might just join that room to support you, Elizabeth. But please feel free to join one room, and we'll be on our way. The discussions will be for 25 minutes. Please, let's keep them crispy and straight to the point. Thank you all.
Group photo, as suggested.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Some people have left.
Thank you
already.
so much.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We'll try to take the group photo once we reconvene. Anton Earl to facilitate this this session of recapitulation from the breakout rooms. Anton, please.
Thank you very much, Julian, and thank you for reminding us of the lovely rain we are receiving now, a big storm, and I'm living down the road from you. So we ran out of time in our group. There seemed to be a lot of interest in the topic, but it'd be great to hear some of the highlights from each of the groups. So group 1, about the national level trainings. Who can I ask to just share a few reflections from group 1?
I guess I can jump in. If anybody from my group thinks I've missed something, then I welcome extra inputs either in the chat or, yeah. We did focus, even though we were looking at the national trainings, which is, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. So Yodit kept falling in and out, which was a bit of a shame. But we are looking at the convening of national trainings that we would use to support the development within a country, within the nation, the water sector, but that would also support and facilitate their participation in transboundary processes. And we plan to pilot this in Ethiopia, and then the national trainings will be tailored to the countries and the needs and the context that each country in the Nile has. So what is important for us for this initiative as well is that we are looking at what is the best way to include male champions in this in these national trainings. We see that as an important component. So we had some good input from the group, had a lot of interest, and I was happy to see that. So we discussed that building partnerships with institutions, either these be learning or academic, civil society, the private sector was mentioned, or other relevant water sector institutions, will be the most important way for us to bring in relevant male champions. And looking at existing initiatives and projects that maybe we can connect with and draw synergies was also brought up. From a government level, we had the recommendation to look at the commission level and then go down to community level. First, that was good insight from people who are familiar with this work. We did have somebody bring up that there was a recent summit in South Africa and there was women missing from that negotiating team, not because they were not people they could draw on, and I know Zodwa could speak about this, but simply because they didn't have that being brought in. So that was an example of why these sort of national trainings would be important. Going to universities, looking at students who are studying this was also recommended. And then a good opportunity would be to go to each country and look at identifying the gender focal point in that region, because they're trained in this area and they can definitely support us in identifying the people that should come in and support this training in that way. We very quickly at the end, I tried to squeeze in, look at what other sectors should be involved beyond just water ministry or Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the finance ministry was raised as very important, as well as the health ministry, and looking specifically, of course, at women's affairs or whichever ministry is responsible for gender affairs, bringing in again social civil society. And then at the very end, because I went up right until the last second, we started to discuss communities and catchment basins, and that would be good for us to develop on that level. And that's all we got to. I'm sure we could have been talking for a lot longer, but I thank my group. And please, anybody who wants to contribute more, maybe include it in the chat, and we will include it in afterwards. Thanks, Anton.
That's great. Thank you, Katie. That's some really nice structured feedback over there. Would anyone like to reflect on what Katie has just reported back about these national workshops, or any questions?
Anton, I'll just say that we've been doing needs assessments every year in the network since 2017. The national workshops has been identified as a request from the network members since year one. And the main reason is we hope that they will enable broader cooperation from a lot of different line ministries. The network today is focused on Ministry of Water and Foreign Affairs, but we know that many ministries in the countries are engaged in water, depending on different governance setups. So we really are excited that these national workshops will enable a deeper national participation in the network as well.
Great, thank you very much for that, Elizabeth. Would anyone else like to make any other inputs on this?
Anton, just a quick one from my side. I'm thinking that for these national workshops, we can also link to the national water partnerships where they exist, because they do have their annual programs. So perhaps we could then just add this element to those programs of the partnerships.
I was just looking at identifying the gender focal points in the different regions. So probably just to inform the House that with the process of developing a strategy for the sector, one of the key activities that we have planned after it is adopted is establishing a gender focal point in the various ministries, the 55 ministries in Africa. I'm speaking for the continent of Africa, and then also those of the youth as well. So yeah, AMCAO we can work together with AMCAO to identify these focal points and probably develop their capacity and take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. With that, I'd also just like to warmly welcome the Honourable Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation of South Africa, Ms. Dekaledi Makgatsi, who indeed, I can see there, the South African National Water Summit is actually mentioned over here in the reporting back, and it was indeed Deputy Minister Makgatsi who actually brought this up, which is, I think, a very good thing, that there weren't women in the room. Honourable Deputy Minister, I think you've just joined the meeting, but we'll be very happy to take a reflection from you or an input, either now or a bit later, as you prefer. We just had a round of working groups, so we had the report back from group number 1. Maybe I proceed with the reporting back from groups number 2 and then 3, and then at the end we can also have a broader discussion.
Yes, I am not sure that it was captured, but I can't see it. Maybe it is not reflecting yet, but maybe if you or anyone who was in the room could just speak to what was discussed.
Yes, certainly. I mean, we are group number 2. We are part of the Male Champions Initiative, and Ellen, you actually gave a very nice overview as my co-host of really what's intended with this initiative. And I'm wondering if you could just share with us what are the key points and maybe some of the input that you're looking for on the Male Champions Initiative. Ellen, would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, sure. It's just, it obviously stems from the recognition that we need to get more men engaged in a male-dominated field, and this Male Champion Initiative is very much at the concept phase. It is targeting sort of high-level influential male leaders that we can identify working at the national or regional level, so with national governments, ministries of foreign affairs, etc., or regional basin organizations and regional economic communities, for example. And it would be very much a pilot phase, subject to getting funding to move forward. And there already is a discussion document that can serve as the basis should we identify sufficient men to move forward and identify actions that can be taken. And in the meeting, certainly or in our small breakout group, certainly the feedback was that it seemed like a very good idea. And we heard from that we should consider looking at SADC as one of the regional economic communities. And Emmanuel from AMCOW also stepped forward and said he would like to be considered as a person that could be part of the male champion process. And another person rightfully asked what would be the criteria. And another person questioned whether we'd be able to find any males. And I pushed back and said, I think we've already found some males, certainly through my process, and I'm sure Siwi has found some as well. So I think at this stage, we're open to suggestions, noting that this is all subject to securing additional funding, because at this point, the World Bank has dedicated some of my time in kind to be able to prepare the document to participate in these meetings. But beyond that, there is not funding to move this forward. So that's, I guess, are some of the key points.
Thank you, Ellen. So to paraphrase, you're saying men are important as working on gender issues. Men should be involved in these issues, and work has been done. There's interest from men to get more engaged, but the resources are needed if we are really going to shift the agenda on this. In the group, I know our colleague from Uganda, Florence from Uganda, you were in that group. Would you like to make any inputs or reflections, or anyone else that would like to make an input?
Thank you very much. I think what has been presented is agreeable. And in Uganda, actually, in our ministry, the head of gender is a male. So we look forward to engaging him more and more so that we can really implement such a proposition. So thank you very much.
That's good news for Siwi and for Siwi and the initiative, certainly to hear that. Thank you, Florence. I'm going to hand over to Yumiko and then followed by Ntati Lenka.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very interesting to listen to this conversation. I was just wondering, since this national workshop is going to be happening, and I'm wondering whether this male champion aspect could be integrated there, which would be probably quite powerful if particularly those workshops will not only target the women, but I suppose it is more targeted to the male counterparts as well. So just a comment.
Practical suggestion. Makes a lot of sense, that Yumiko, certainly. Ntati?
Doctor, no, what I was saying really was that because we have tried a number of new initiatives as they emerge, is that I can actually say that the Orange River Commission would be ready to step into this work, and working closely with our women delegates and commissioners, as I said, will try to advance the women diplomacy topic. But Lindiwe Lusenga is there, my honorable minister is there, my project manager is there. So I think as a commission, a Transboundary Water Cooperation Commission, we have adequate basis to step in and try this kind of innovative way of fostering transboundary water cooperation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Helen, Natu, be great to hear from you. And then I just want to get a report back from group number 3 before we close.
Thank you very much, Anton. And thank you very much, group 2, for what you have deliberated on. I would like just to come from the non-state actor position and also bring in the grassroots element and sustainability. The discussions from the beginning, I have realized that the 9 state actors are playing a very minimal role. I don't know how we can enhance that in this nice network that is coming up. And when we look at male inclusivity, I would like to quote an example from our grassroots platforms, where we actually get over 90% male and older male. So if we are looking at sustainability of this network and bringing in the male element, I was thinking of us bringing in the young professionals, because the young are the ones now that are missing out in this, in most of these networks. If we are going to look at the older generation from the states, that is fine. But if we are going to the grassroots and we want a network, a strong network that is male inclusive, I was suggesting that we think about the young professionals. Thank you, Anton.
Thank you, Helen. Very good to see you again. And thanks for reminding us that it's multiple different dimensions of this. Where I was glad to hear that AMCAR has recently launched its youth and gender inclusiveness strategy. So that is good to hear as well. Can I move on to Group 3? Very briefly, but we hear what Group 3 was discussing in terms of the World Water Week in Stockholm.
I can very briefly share, but I've also, Anton, shared the slides from our group in the chat. I hope you all can see them. Basically, we're going to be working up to our global strategy launch at World Water Week 22 in Stockholm in August. We are planning for in-person with hybrid options. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be launching what we hope to be a global women in water diplomacy statement as well, called a rising tide, which is still under works, that we're going to ask all of you to share and endorse and feed into its development in the coming months. And I also mentioned during the breakout room, and we had some reflection from Tahani on all the plans around COP27, which is taking place this year at Sharm el-Sheikh. CIWI will be supporting the Water Pavilion once again, and the women in water diplomacy will be well represented, I'm sure. We'll know more as that program develops. And the other issue we mentioned was that we'd really love if there are partners out there that want to get involved with helping us make our network forum in person in Stockholm. We're going to need partners and supporters to get all of our great members together. I see 2 hands up. I think they were new. Lenka, good afternoon to you, sir. Did you have a comment?
It's an old hand, I apologize.
Okay, well, even your old hand's very welcome. And Helen, is that a new hand for you?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is still a new hand, because this is just a suggestion. We have a very strong Nile Discourse Forum for Egypt. And we had in Dar es Salaam during the Nile Day celebration, a General Assembly meeting, and the Nile Discourse Forum Egypt, they are organizing. I don't know whether they are in the green room or the blue room, but I think it will be good if we can link to this Nile Discourse Forum, the woman representative for Egypt. In fact, we have the woman representative for Cluster 1, Egypt, South Sudan, Sudan, and Ethiopia, coming from Egypt. And they have organized a number of events, which Elizabeth, maybe we could link to and see.
That's a great idea,
how to strengthen
Helen.
what we do. Yeah, I can give you the contacts and then you can get in touch to see what they are doing towards COP 27.
There's a lot of things still in the works yet, and that's a wonderful suggestion, Helen. In general, we know that we have more work to do to reach out and engage with the Nile Basin Discourse's amazing bottom-up communities. So we can only, we've chosen, I think, to focus in a specific way, but that doesn't mean we have lessons that can't be shared broader.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
I think this
Stefan.
is really an invitation to continue this discussion. I mean, that's really what we are starting over here. There's 3 clear initiatives that are being presented over here. I presume the slides are all going to be available to the participants. Is that correct, Elizabeth? So we'll make sure that the male champion slides will also be there. I'm not sure if the Honourable Deputy Minister from South Africa is still with us. She's very welcome to share a reflection. I was, in fact, in the session where she pointed out at the lack of women that were really in the room. So it was a real issue over there. So you're very welcome to make an input. Otherwise,
thank you very much. Yeah. I'm still here with you. Thank you very much. And let me greet everybody on the platform. My apology that I came in while the session was really almost about in the middle. But let me indicate that with our transboundary water resources, I feel that not only did I make that observation in South Africa, but I think it's a general concern that I am having that, you know, we are the hardest hit as women, and therefore in planning, in design, finances, it is important that women should be able to play a particular role so that we can be able to understand these issues, particularly capacitation of women technically when we deal with matters of water. For I take it, these are some of the critical tenets, but I would like to learn more about the Nile women diplomacy program, and would urge those who are involved in it to say, you know, Africa as it is, we're definitely going to rely on you for strategic interventions, for learning and, you know, copying some of the things that you have already done. We don't need to rewind the wheel, but to learn from the best, because from the look of things, this is an exciting program. And I think if we can be able to have as many women who are able to really make an intervention in water diplomacy, the better it is, because, you know, sometimes when you're in our rural areas of the Republic of South Africa, you see women fighting for water because it's a scarce commodity. Then it immediately comes to your mind that, oh, this can be another war that can be able to really be fought by women. And I don't think we really need that as women, to have wars that are fought specifically to can have access to this critical resource. And I am happy and would wish to want to engage and work with the Nile River women in water diplomacy. Thank you very much, Anton.
Thank you very much, Minister Makhadze. And I really like your point which you raise over there, that we should be learning about the experiences of other parts of Africa. So this network has had some success. From what we can hear, it is success in the Nile context. It makes it really important to be able to apply those lessons learned as we roll this out now on a Pan-African basis. And earlier on, Minister, we were very encouraged to hear that there's some river basin organizations such as Orasacom and some others that have also expressed interest in this initiative, as well as some of the regional economic communities, SADC and other ones as well, and African Union. So I think we're off to a good start, and we view this as learning, mutual confidence building. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for participating in these discussions, and hand over to Dr. Zodwa Dlamini to close off our session.
In closing, thank you very much to all the participants for this auspicious occasion today. And just for housekeeping, let me just say tomorrow there are 2 important engagements that is, we have been invited to. One We have the network has been invited to the to have inputs at the UNESCO IHE Advanced Water, Peace and Security seminar, and we have our members who will be presenting there. We have Miss Yodit Balcha from Ethiopia on the, as well as Nompumelelo Nchalinchali Moza from Swaziland, as well as Elizabeth Diari from Siwi. They will be representing the whole network as well as the council. And tomorrow is such a busy day. Dr. Muna Musnad will also be representing us. She has been invited to present to the Stockholm Prize National Winners Alumni Network on the empowerment of women in STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So those are very, very important activities that our members are engaged in. As we conclude, we would want to say as the council, on behalf of the network, today is a major, major important day. As Dr. Jacqueline Nyarikamana said, that on this International Day, we want to honor all the women globally and all the sisterhood that we have. Your presence has made us very, very proud, but most importantly has empowered us. We want to thank you, the network members, for your support, but most importantly, for your participation. We know some of the challenges that you often, experience, network. Sometimes you are able to log in, sometimes you are unable, sometimes whilst you are having a good day, then there comes an abrupt one, So we will say we'll continue to work closely with you. We want to also thank Ambassador Caroline Vicini, the ambassador from Sweden to Kenya, for agreeing to participate despite being swamped with so much work and traveling schedule. Yet she made time to record her presentation and be part and parcel of this beautiful occasion today. To our development partners, we are honored that you have committed to work with us to advance the women in water diplomacy and transboundary issues. We say to CEDA, the United States, UNDP, Netherlands, and SIWI being our host, and we are very, very honored that you are here with us and that you continue to support us financially and otherwise. And we are glad to say that we are certainly growing, as we have observed from the various pillars of our strategy. We are growing, and there's nothing that is going to stop us. We will also, and we are also generous in terms of ensuring that we share whatever knowledge as well as skills that we already have. We are also glad that our male champions and that program is again gaining full speed. So for that, we are just excited. So we are saying that we are also very thankful as we go ahead and we say to our sister partners in the continent of Africa, as well as in Afghanistan and Central Asia, the Americas, and globally, that let's continue to work. Let's continue to make sure that equality is our thing. Whether the door is closed, we will ensure that we force our way in. Whether the table is overcrowded, we will make space for you to join. We know that it's not easy, but we continue to grow. It is our express gratitude to also acknowledge all those that came before us and all that those that have always worked with us. One of the members that I would like to also thank who started with us, if you recall, Jessica, when we were in Uganda in 2017, Maria Feng, who's no longer with us here at Siwi, but she was the one who made sure that this process continues to grow. Therefore, I want to also honor her and all the other members to say, forward we go and forward we march. Together we'll continue to grow. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day. Thank you. Meet you in Stockholm 2022.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Zodwa Dlamini, for this inspiring remarks as usual. We are very grateful for having you. We're very sorry for running over time a little bit. I've just posted in the chat the link to the survey. We really need your support. We need your support in providing us feedback in case we have gone astray, but most importantly to bring the resources that are really needed to make sure that we bring everybody on board and we empower our sisters, our daughters, our mothers to accomplish what they were destined to be or to do in life. So I thank you very much.